fires his deputy, Rod Rosenstein, according to the Washington Post, which is breaking this story tonight. Rosenstein, of course, is overseeing the Russia investigation after Sessions recused himself. So Mueller goes into Rosenstein. Trump has been so angry with Rosenstein since the raid of Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen's office and hotel room because Rosenstein was the one, who had to refer it to the Southern District of New York. Sessions made his feelings known in a phone call to the White House counsel, Donald McGahn. Rosalind Hellerman, the political investigations reporter for the Washington Post, broke this story and joins me now on the phone. Rosalind, so tell me what this is basically Jeff Sessions is leveling a very clear threat.
Well, we were told that the Attorney General was not trying to threaten the White House per se, but just to make clear that if the president fired his deputy, who he helped select, that his position would become untenable. It would make an enormous amount of public pressure grow on the Attorney General, and that he might have to leave his post were that to happen.
So it's not a threat of quitting. It's I might be forced to do this because of external circumstances. Is that what you're hearing more specifically?
That's right, or that he might feel forced to do so, that he might that set of circumstances might cause him to feel compelled that he had to leave. I think it was a way of conveying that he thought this was a very bad idea. And I think the president has come to realize that if he were to fire Mueller, he would be inviting sort of a chaotic moment if he were to fire the special counsel. And what this shows is really Rod Rosenstein's position has become such that the same would occur were he to fire Rod Rosenstein, that is not a politically easier move for the president. Were he to do that, he may well lose his attorney general, and he may well lose a series of other important staff members in both the Department of Justice and potentially the White House as well.
The so-called constitutional crisis that some have warned of. All right, Rosalind, thank you so much. Rosalind Helderman, as I said, investigations reporter for the Washington Post, breaking the story tonight. Out front now, Harry Sandick, former assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, along with Laura Coates, former federal prosecutor, and Renato Mariotti, former federal prosecutor. Harry, let me start with you. So you heard Rosalind, they're sort of Jeff Sessions trying to thread the needle here, according to her reporting, right, to say, I would probably leave, maybe because I was forced to do so as opposed to I'm threatening to quit, but making his position very clear.
That's right. He's been a very effective attorney general in terms of advancing the types of things that Donald Trump talked about in the campaign. And at the same time, there are certain things he's not going to do. And we've seen that as the Mueller investigation has unfolded. He recused himself because it was DOJ policy to do it. And he doesn't want to see the deputy attorney general, who Sessions views as an honorable person, good at his job, forced to leave for basically doing his job.
So, Renato, why do you think Sessions is essentially, doing this publicly? Obviously, as Rosalind's reporting, it was a phone call with the White House, but this is leaking out, and it's leaking out for a reason, because Sessions or someone close to Sessions wanted everyone to know where he stands.
I think this is a power move, really, by Jeff Sessions to support Rod Rosenstein. Remember, Donald Trump himself, the president of the United States, has been attacking Rod Rosenstein. A lot of people in the right-wing media have been attacking Rod Rosenstein. And Jeff Sessions is in a very different position. He's a former senator. He has a lot of support from GOP lawmakers in Congress. It would be a problem for Donald Trump if he fired Jeff Sessions. I think that's been made clear to him. Yeah. Remember, if there's impeachment, the jury is the United States Senate. So if you are on Trump's legal team or giving him advice, you are going to say, be careful about firing Jeff Sessions or trying to mess with Jeff Sessions.
And yet, Laura, the president has made his disdain for Jeff Sessions, and I don't think there's any other word for it, very well known. Here's just some of what he said.
Sessions should have never recused himself. And if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else.
I'm very disappointed with the Attorney General, but we will see what happens. Time will tell. Time will tell.
And that's tame compared with his tweets. I mean, Laura, is this almost what he wants? Somehow Jeff Sessions to, let's just say, get rid of himself?
it's not much of a threat for him to say, if he goes, I go. If the president of the United States wanted you to go, it's almost a blessing in disguise for the president. But remember, there's been a fixation and an assumption that the Department of Justice has solely been focusing on the Russia collusion investigation. Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein oversees over 100,000 employees, the DEA, the ATF. He oversees the Bureau of Prisons, the day-to-day operations. The idea that he would be somebody who's been pivotal in cybersecurity, crime attacks, in the fentanyl, pharmaceutical companies. He has a role outside of just the Russia oversight. And in that respect, he would throw the DOJ into chaos and further undermine the credibility of Jeff Sessions to control this entire leg of this very powerful investigative agency.
And Harry, you know, this is coming as we have another legal battle opening up for the president. OK, the DNC is basically they're suing the Trump campaign and the Russian government, multi-million-dollar lawsuit accusing them of collusion. Now, the president just came out and tweeted about this, and he says, "Just heard the campaign was sued by obstructionist Democrats. This can be good news, and that we will now counter for the DNC server that they refused to give to the FBI, the Wendy Wasserman Schultz servers and documents held by the Pakistani mystery man and Clinton emails." Of course, it's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but whatever. I guess I say that sort of laughingly. But here's the thing. The lawsuit here is conspiring in the 2016 election. And, you know, you got Jared Kushner named in it. You got Paul Manafort named in it. Obviously, Trump's completely dismissing it. This happened back during Nixon. Yeah. DNC suing over the break into Watergate. Yep. They won $750,000, a lot of money then, and they won it on the day Nixon left office.
So this lawsuit, I think, is a good idea by the DNC. I think what it does in part is it creates a backup plan. If other investigations are shut down, this lawsuit will be continuing on. It can't be closed by a presidential pardon. It would involve depositions of many people who are close to the president. His son is a named defendant.
Yes. I mean, which makes it very significant, Renato. And there is precedent for the DNC in Watergate. I mean, you can dismiss this as political, sure. But whether you want to do that or not, the point is it's worked before.
Well, absolutely. And one thing that we do know, because the Supreme Court decided this issue in Jones versus Clinton, is the president is not immune from a civil lawsuit when he's in office. All of his associates obviously don't have immunity. There are some legal hurdles to some of the claims, but as long as they can get past those legal hurdles, there's going to be discovery. There's going to be depositions under oath. There's going to be documents and emails and other things exchanged. That could be a real problem for the president and his associates.
I would like everyone to know that in somehow an admission of error, which almost never happens from this president. He has corrected his tweet from Wendy to Debbie. It just happened. Hey, there's a first for everything, everyone. Laura, your reaction? Not to that. To the
well, that's breaking news, Erin.
Well, that is breaking news, by the way. It's as close to an apology as you're going to get.
It is. Yeah. And, of course, part of the DNC claim and suit is to actually get admissions of problems and admissions of guilt, not from Donald Trump, but we're in the right direction if you wanted admission at this point in time. But really, it's very similar to what Robert Mueller did when he charged and indicted 13 Russian nationals. It was a talking indictment. There were jurisdictional issues. Could you actually get service over these Russian nationals? Same jurisdiction issues here apply when you talk about be able to sue a foreign government. But what they're trying to do, I think, is also the fail-safe approach, is a response to the Republicans who were a part of the House Intel Committee who said, we have not only a hands-off approach, we're not going to do anything about it in anticipation of the midterm elections. They are trying to ensure this issue stays prominently positioned and to remind people of the similarities between Watergate and people make them now of what the power of the DNC, albeit partisan,